Welcome back to the African Cyber Gaming League School League Chats, where we're very aware that there are way too many initialisms, abbreviations, and acronyms in our industry. In fact, this video will be acronym and initialism free. There's no scuba or lasers here, just self-contained underwater breathing apparatuses and light amplification by stimulated emissions of radiation. Today's special interview will be with Reggie, our in-house broadcast specialist here at ACGL, and also the person who sits next to me at work, making him my best friend. Except you, Jason, the cameraman.
Oh, thanks, man. That's quite sweet of you, actually. I've actually been feeling a bit like not acknowledged behind you, to be honest.
I was scrolling through Reddit, and I found a really cool post from I Run Durbanville. Weirdly enough, when the video was finished, the audio kept playing, but in fragmented pieces, and I got up, moved around, and tried to figure out why it kept playing. Jason, the camera, do you have any idea what it could have been before I continue?
Maybe the voices in your head, ghosts, loser's Q syndrome.
Well, believe it or not, it wasn't the voices this time, but actually it was my partner's TikTok. She was watching the same video that I was. It's really cool having those kind of viral videos that just kind of go live at the same time, and then South Africans just get hit with them immediately. But it was a really cool school pride pixel video that they were doing to support their school sports. And it made me think this would be so cool in an esports setting. And what would that look like? That kind of school pride for esports? Luckily, I have a kind of idea. I'm going to roll my favorite clip that we took last year at Paul Roos Gymnasium versus Grey College.
So well controlled, slant right back on his goal.
Wow.
Couldn't be reached by anyone from Grey College off the back.
Updates on the website. We have removed all cellular phone and electronic mail verification systems. Now you won't be able to be locked out of chat if you don't have that verified because it doesn't exist. This should make life a lot easier for your teachers and for all the students that had this issue for the last 2 weeks. We also have some very cool graphics coming out for this stream, including results, coming matches, various other things like the leaderboards for Fortnite as well. I'm sure we'll have some on this week's episode. Jason, why don't we get nice graphics?
Why don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we do. We do. You know, I just don't think you deserve them.
Well, as we get to that point, we will survive off charisma and bleak optimism. If your school is doing something awesome esports related, or even just something very interesting like the video we watched a little bit earlier, please submit your information or clips to schools@acgl.gg. I can't really unabbreviate that because that's the email, but we'd love to hear from you and include it in the show. Also, I would actually like to relax while we watch your clips during this video. In the eventing side, I Run Nelspruit hosted their first inter-school local access network. I got that one right. Making it one of the first in Mpumalanga. I stand to be corrected, but I haven't really heard of any other events on that side. It's a massive milestone for the school, for the province, and they played EAFC 25, Rocket League, and a bit of Minecraft. The winners, Nelspruit, Nelspruit, and Nelspruit again. I guess there is something to be said about being the home territory and practicing a lot of the games that you're playing. On the other side of the country, we had Thomas More College from KwaZulu-Natal hosting their Rocket League show matches. They invited 3 other high schools in the area to take part in an insane double knockout bracket. Amazing game, one of the first of its kind in KZN as well, as far as I'm aware.
KZN.
KwaZulu-Natal.
That's what I'm saying. Can't be bringing these acronyms in here, dude.
Check out the footage. We have some going on screen, I'm sure. And good job to Thomas More College, again, showing that the home victors are generally where they're at. Second, we did have Riverwood College, and I run Grantley. See, esports isn't just for the Western Cape and Gauteng. We'd really love to see more events propping up local, somewhere close to you. And if you're not in South Africa and watching this, I'm really hoping that we can get events right out to your doorstep eventually. Here in the offices, we had our weekly match from the Toyota Gaming Engine. We had Parkfields Primary come through from Hanover Park all the way to the offices. They had a great time, and we're looking forward to our next school to play. If you are in Cape Town and are interested in doing the TTGE, I mean the Toyota Gaming Engine, don't hurt me, then pop us an email again at schools@acgl.gg, and we'd love to have you in the offices, playing, competing, and hopefully seeing you at some of the bigger tournaments as well. Last thing to mention is that Paul Roos had their open day last week. That's where we got our wonderful footage of the fantastic Willem who covered for Ethan. We have 2 other interviews that we took at that occasion. We had a lovely chat with professional Fortnite player and coach at Paul Roos, Bojo, and also their head of esports, J.H. Stoltz. Very awesome person in the industry. Those are being saved for a rainy day where I need something pre-recorded. So hopefully you will see that soon, but if I can keep to my schedules, maybe never. No, I'm joking. You'll see them one day. Upcoming events this week. Paul Boys is having a small information session on how to join the Nitro African Cyber Gaming League School League competition internally within their school. This week, our Thursday is very packed, as we'll have the Toyota Gaming Engine schools come in again into the offices playing their competition, but also we'll be at Schoolscape's Stellenbosch, which is a conference where technology and schools meet. They'll be hosting and explaining various things to do with esports at the convention. Perhaps I'll be seeing some of your teachers or principal at that event. And if you're not going to the one in Cape Town, we'll be at the Johannesburg one and then at the one in Durban the following week. So keep an eye out for me there. I'm sure I'll talk about it again. A bit more in the future, so I won't go into too much detail. We will be having the Gauteng local access network.
I think it's local area network actually.
I'll give more details when the registration does release, but just keep it in the back of your mind. Moving on, we have results. On the Fortnite leaderboard side of things, we can finally update that. Week 2, and we have in 5th place, Pinelands High School with all aim, no brain. They have 188 points in 5th place. In 4th, we have Dianca D Team with 197 points. Closely followed by Glenwood High School in 3rd place with 211 points. In 2nd place, we have Dianca N Team. Imagine having so many teams in high school that you go down to N. Dianca really putting in work, especially having 2 teams in the top 5. Finally, in 1st place, we have Edgemead High School with a whopping 291 points, which is 100 more, equivalent for 100 more kills than 5th place. Absolutely amazing, and they really are proving that Western Cape has something to prove. They are the winners of AGC 2024, so seeing to make sure that they hold that title. The unexpected load shedding made a lot of the other titles a bit hard to play, so we're holding on some of those fixtures till this week. You can check the website for the most updated, but I won't be releasing the results on stream just yet. This week, be sure to check out our stream games. As usual, we have Fortnite Tuesday to Thursday from 4 o'clock. On Wednesday and Tuesday, we have Rocket League and then Valorant. They will be playing a little bit later, but you can check the schedule that should be coming up on the screen now. Last week, they started at 5, but we realized we needed to give them a little bit more time. I really do want to give a big shout out to Reggie, the person you're about to hear from, and the rest of the team, the shoutcasters, the admins, for having an awesome first week of streams. They really did turn out nice, and if you do have a moment, please do check them out. Before we head into our interview, let's check out one of the game-winning matches from Fortnite last week.
sure that the teammates can rotate early. And look at the distance that he's challenging this from. Those are great shots. How is no one down there? They must be on a sliver of HP. Still the bullets go down. Finally, the two of them claimed at a distance. No engagement needed.
Welcome back to our interview this week. We're here with Meneer Regat Eiker, the African Cyber Gaming League School League main broadcaster. He has a multitude of other major broadcasts, but why don't you just introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, I am Regat, also known as Reggie, broadcast and production manager over at ACGL.
And he does a fantastic job of highlighting students across South Africa. So we're going to chat to him about various things regarding streaming, broadcast, and all the technicalities around that. But before we get started with that, what is your favorite game? Let's just start on the basic gamer level.
Well, for me, it's basically always been and always will be, regardless of the state of the game, Call of Duty.
Oh, maybe I should be holding it over here then.
Yes, Call of Duty, favorite by far.
100%. And what is it that got you into broadcasting? There's so many things you can do in esports in terms of shoutcasting, obviously the stuff we do behind the scenes, the admin side, but why broadcasting? What really excites you about it?
Is it more like how I got into it or, why I do it?
Let's start with that. How did you get into it? And what is it that makes it so much better than doing admin or graphics or anything like that?
So basically, one day, Nick Holden, our lovely boss, he's like, Reg, so do you want to try out production? And I'm like, no. I did not know a single thing. I've not opened any streaming software at that point in time. And that first weekend, I did a Mythic broadcast for Fortnite. And it went very well. And I loved it. And ever since then, I've been broadcasting.
Do you mind if I ask what year that was, if you remember?
2020.
2020. So I think that's before I started ACGL, right?
No, you volunteered with me online during 2020. You started 2020.
No, but you were a senior admin when I started. Yeah. So I feel like you started a little bit before me. But were you doing broadcast then?
So late 2020 was my first streams, yes.
Okay, because I do remember very vaguely either Nick or some of the other admins at the time saying, wow, Reggie's just doing a fantastic job. We've never really put him on anything like that. We need to get him onto this full time. Because you were, I think, still working at your previous job and just doing admin, a little bit on the side.
Correct. I was basically working in something completely different than this. And then my bosses were always nice enough to let me off at 3 p.m. so I can do ACGL stuff every day. And worked out at the end.
It's amazing what happens when you take a little bit of a leap of faith. And now you're in Cape Town. I mean, Reggie was based in Pretoria before, and now he's moved across South Africa to be here, bringing world-class quality streams to the rest of Africa. Amazing.
It is, yeah, unreal.
So I guess to the second part of that question, what is so amazing about broadcast for you specifically?
For me, it's just to be able to share it and grow the games and the communities. Without streams, a lot of people is not aware of what's happening, especially in South Africa. I feel like it's very important part of growing esports, especially on the school level. We need to showcase the talent, and that for me is what drives me to do it.
Yeah, I think you put that wonderfully. I mean, that's what the parents see. It's what your schools see. It's what other organizations see. I mean, playing a game online doesn't really look like much. You can see some brackets, some fixtures, but unless you see the actual action happening, what's the point of just hearing about maybe cricket or rugby, just hearing the fixture results? You need to see the action. Yeah. So 100%. If I wanted to start streaming today, what is the minimum requirements you would say I'd need from my hardware? Would I need like a 6090? Would I need like 4 monitors? What do I need?
So 4 monitors, yes. No, I'm kidding. So basically you just need your monitor, a decent spec PC, not like low range. By low range, I mean like your 2050s, 3050s, rather something like in the 60 series, not 60 series, but like 3060, 2060, like those are all fine. And then you obviously you have like the 4060s as well. And then memory, like RAM, always important. Minimum 16 gig, I would say. Otherwise, you will run into some issues. But yeah, that's all you need. A CPU that's not like 1000 Rand. Probably something with preferably 6 cores or more. Anything less, you will likely run into some issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And what Reggie described, I think, is a very standard, stable PC. Obviously, it depends on what games you're running, what you're recording in, and various things like that. But if you want to be comfortable, 16 gigs RAM minimum, everything else you mentioned, very good, strong starting point, I think. And now, if that's the basic level, what do you run on your PC that gets out the amazing Fortnite, Call of Duty, COD Mobile, those lovely carry first streams? What do you run?
Yeah, so basically, I did recently upgrade, and I'm still waiting for one more part. But what I run at the moment is 96 gig of DDR5 RAM. I have a RTX 4070 Ti, a Ryzen 7 5700X, which is being upgraded tomorrow, actually. Yeah, and that's the main stuff. I do have an extra terabyte of SSD storage, which I use just for replays while I'm live, which gets cleared after every stream basically. And I use 2 monitors. Depending on the stream, sometimes I do switch to 3. And if the stream is very demanding due to my CPU being restricted still at the moment, I do have a laptop which I use to offload some of the workload to. So that is my current setup.
Okay, that's amazing. I think a lot more hard drive than your casual person at home would have, but awesome. What piece of hardware that you have additional to your usual makes your live streaming easier?
For me, it's a no-brainer. I have a Elgato Stream Deck XL, so it's the one with the 32 buttons. Basically, what it does is you can control all your scenes that goes out to production without needing to actually use your mouse or keyboard. To give an example of how useful this tool is, we had load shedding once, and my backup power was running out. And in order to save power, we turned off all my monitors. So I could not see what's happening on stream. And my co-producer, Andri, he would tell me on what scene I am and basically how far the game is so I know when to switch. And I would control everything from the Stream Deck and he would just tell me yes or no, basically. So the tool is so handy. Anyone who streams and can afford it, I do recommend it.
That's such a funny story that I'd never heard that one before. It's so funny in hindsight, but I imagine you were just panicking about the stream dropping like midstream because of load shedding.
Dude, it was some of the most intense broadcasts ever. And all you see is on the app, because you could see your inverter on the app, the percentage, and it's just dropping down 5, 4, 3. Eventually it's like, onto we finished the stream. It's just like, thank goodness, dude. So yeah, no, lifesaver.
Breath of relief there. What streaming software do you use to get the footage out? And then on top of that, what software do you use in conjunction with your streaming software to make your streaming life easier?
So for the most part, up until recently, I use OBS, and OBS is what I recommend to anyone getting into streaming. It does way more than people think it can do. You are able to run some of the bigger streams from OBS. But if you do want to step it up a little and you have the budget for, I do recommend using vMix. vMix has a lot of built-in features which OBS just doesn't and sadly can't come close to. So vMix basically is what makes the broadcast just that little better. So yeah, that's what I use.
100%. And I'm just going to remind our viewers that this is for high-level broadcasts on like an esports league level. You can use OBS for just your standard streaming stuff. Don't worry too much about that. Out of all the games that we stream here at ACGL, what would you say is the most demanding on your computer, or getting frames out and things like that?
So you probably won't believe me. The most demanding game is actually Fortnite. A lot of people would probably think Valo or Call of Duty. But Fortnite, just because with Unreal Engine 5 and like how much you can crank the details on that game, it's so demanding. Literally, if I were on my old system, which had a 3070 Ti, and I were to crank the graphics of the game to max, I would actually overload my system and wouldn't be able to broadcast the game. So Fortnite by far is the most demanding.
All right, as someone who's played that and tried to stream it, it actually is crazy. If you crank the graphics up, I can get away with maybe mid to low if you want it to be watchable stream. And you spoke about your co-producer, Andre, before. When is it necessary, do you think, for a broadcast to start including multiple people running the broadcast? Like, what is the breakpoint that makes it so intense?
So generally, I would say, let's say you want to do live updates during the stream. By live updates, I mean things like brackets and, intermissions that have like scoreboards on the side and things like that. You generally need someone to edit. So I think as soon as you reach that point, and you need to edit things as you go, you would then need someone on the team to assist with that.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Reggie, that has been so insightful. I've heard stories I've never heard of before. I've learned a bit more about broadcast. I hope everyone in the audience has learned something new as well. But thank you for your time, and we'll see you next week. Do you know why I'm saying I run, by the way?
I run.
Yeah, like I run Durbanville. Because Kiro is Latin for I run. Toyota Gaming, Toyota Engine. I'm done with these abbreviations. The TTGE. This week, we'll
I see.
cut my life into pieces.
This is my last resort.
If you are... It's because it's like the last 3 paragraphs of my brain's... It's broken. Featuring Amy Lee. Okay, you know that song?
No.
Are you rolling? I move in, I move out, hands on the hands out. What's up? What you gonna do now? Keep rolling, 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 rolling. What?